Hey, this is Eddie from Eddie's Coaching, and today's Boxing Day. I thought, what a perfect time to start looking at what sort of goals you're going to be putting together for the next year. Now, I know I personally just sat down and written my goals, but there's a couple of key things that you're going to have to do if you really want to implement something different in the next year, have the best year of your life, rather than just let's set some goals and maybe get a couple of weeks into them and then I'm not really going to actually do them anymore. So how do you do that? Well, we're living in a world at the moment where we've got so much choice that it actually becomes really difficult to decide, okay, what is my focus? What are the actual goals that I want to achieve this year? So the first thing you're going to have to do is decide, what is your focus? What's your focus for the next year? Is it really getting fit, which is such a common one that people choose? And if it is, how will I implement that over time? Or is there something more important to me? Is there a vision or a focus that I really need to be zoning in on and making the one big change in my life? And the second thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to look at your life and say, well, if I haven't achieved these goals in the past, especially if they're goals that you have set in the past and haven't achieved, or if this is a completely new goal where I'm making a big change in my life, how am I going to make myself different? What's going to be not the same as the last time? What am I going to do to actually make my life different, make the changes that are important? And the answer, guys, is that you have to change your rituals. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. You can call it my daily habits, my rituals, or your obsession. You can change it into an obsession in your life, but whatever you want to call it, I call it rituals. It has to be something you're changing daily. So a good example of that, for me, video blogging is a really important one. It's something that I really need to be doing on a very regular basis. Now, this video blog is a lot more rusty than my last couple. Why? Because over the last couple of days through the Christmas period, I really haven't taken the time out to do these video blogs. Now, what does that do to you? Well, it gets you out of your rhythm and your pattern. So you're going to have to come up with a new pattern of rituals that make sure that you're having these little successes all the time, because that is where success comes from. It's about building little successes until you've got a big bag of success that you can draw on. And you see, when you complete small successes all the time, it gives you a habit of completing things, so that over time, when you sit there and you go, or for me, for example, I need to do a video blog today. I've got to plan it, I've got to sit down and think about it. I can tell you from my experience, doing this blog today was much more difficult than the last of the 5 that I did previously, because I'm just not in the routine and the rhythm. So for me, staying in that ritual is really important. Now, when you make a change in a ritual, like working out, the initial stages of it is going to be really difficult. Okay, you're going to go, first day at the gym, you're going to be sore. Then you're going to have to go in the next day and work out sore. And after a week or so, you're going to go, I've had my weekend break. You're going to have to get back into it, and that's going to be difficult. But once you've done that for week after week, day after day, and had those small successes, when you get to the 4th, the 5th, the 6th week, going is going to be part of your routine. It's not going to be difficult anymore, and that's when the true success starts to happen. When you've pushed past that initial period of change and you're now taking off and really starting to feel the change in your physiology, feel that you're getting better at whatever you're working on. Now, the problem is that initial stage is difficult, but how do we make sure that we get past it? Well, you've got to have commitment, and not just commitment, but you've got to take action when you're juiced up at the start to make sure that you're enforced to go later. Now, for me, I've always been a gym junkie and I've always liked going to the gym. But how consistent has my gym been? Well, it's only gotten really consistent recently because I took some action to commit to make sure that I was going all the time. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do that with gym. You can do it by having a gym partner where you feel obligated to go. Personally, I found personal trainer to be the best way to go. Now, you might say, but I can't afford a personal trainer, or for whatever other reason, it's going to be difficult for you to complete your task. And they're just excuses. We need to actually find ways around it. So for example, for me, I know a personal trainer and physio, and I offer to pay for their gym membership in order to get that personal training. So it's a win-win situation. They've got a gym partner that's consistent, so do I, but I get personal training and everybody wins. So if you're thinking about an option where you're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this because I've got all these limitations, you guys have got to think around those and get around them. So for example, I've got limitations with these video blogs. I don't have a mic, so the quality of my audio is not that great. Now, I could look at that and go, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna wait till I've found the right mic, and then I might say, oh, okay, well, you know, I don't really have the setting for it, I don't have a studio, so then I'll wait till I've got a studio, and eventually, months or years would pass, and it just wouldn't happen. So no, what you do is you start off and you do things rusty, and over time they get better. But the little successes of doing things on a day-to-day basis is what's gonna build your esteem. And once your esteem is built, it's gonna be so much easier to get those tasks done. So I hope this video has helped you guys with those two things. Make sure you're changing your rituals and commit yourself so that you're enforced to do those rituals. And you'll find that'll help you a lot in your little path to success and achieving those goals you're setting now. The other thing is, don't make your goals too complicated. Set it as a clear vision so that when you're looking at prioritizing, as we've talked about in other videos, you can knock those other things off and look at your major priorities. That way, when you do achieve them, and you haven't done the less important stuff, at least you'll be like, okay, well, I've achieved the big stuff. So it's gonna be more important to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Good luck in your next year. And I'd love to hear your comments below if you think there's anything else we can add that's gonna help us get over that initial period of change and solidify our new lives together.